All right, what's happening, y'all? Welcome to the broadcast with your boys Rico and Seyi. We have several topics we need to talk about it today. Of course, Drew Brees, Jake Fromm, the NFL's almost return, the NBA's full return. Um, recent mixtapes and albums will always be a topic that we may get to. Last week we didn't get to it. We don't necessarily have to get to it, but I always have it there. Also wanted to talk about Mikey Williams and Nick Barnes. Shouts out to my boy Derek JB. I definitely want to talk about Nick Barnes also along with Mikey Williams. So we're about to get started. Anything you wanted to say, Shay, before we get into this?
Let's get right to it. Got Monet Lisa in the back. The Atlanta United one, the taping won't stay on. So hopefully Monet Lisa will stay on through this 2 to 3 hour podcast.
All right, bet. All right, so I'm definitely down to start off with the whole Drew Brees situation and how everybody's reacting to it. And also, first of all, what's up to everybody? Derek JB, Scotty, AGM, Rich, TMS, Juan, Gotti, Andreas, thank you. Appreciate all y'all pulling up.
What's up, everyone?
My dad's in the building too. Thank you for pulling up. Wash hands. All right, so bet. So yeah, we got to just break. We're gonna start off with the whole Drew Brees situation. We're gonna work our way into Jake Fromm, but if you wanted to intro this, Shay, you got it. If you want to give an exact quote or anything.
Well, pretty sure everybody in the chat already know what Drew Brees said. He still says no matter what, he stands by the flag his grandfather served, and his grandfather's legacy is all about serving the flag. So no matter what, he still stands by the flag. And what Drew Brees just fails to understand is that Kaepernick wasn't kneeling to disrespect the military, to disrespect anybody who served. He was kneeling because of the injustice of the American justice system when it comes to racial relations. And that's what Kaepernick was kneeling for. So, that's how I got to start off with, unless you want to say anything about that.
Yeah, I just don't like how the attention goes from what the purpose actually is towards disrespecting the American flag. Because at the end of the day, this whole time we've been pledging allegiance to a flag that hasn't represented what we actually wanted it to represent. So I don't see any problem with kneeling down during the flag, especially since that's the only time that they will listen. That's what started this whole thing. If he was kneeling before or after the national anthem, then it wouldn't have reached the level of controversy that it did, which also got his message out further. It's made it so he's not able to get an NFL job, but he got a settlement. And from that settlement, he started a lot of programs and stuff to give back and a lot of initiatives to help, the Black cause and everything. But I love it. Also, I just hate the hypocrisy. It's not everybody, but a lot of the people that are upset at him disrespecting the flag are the same people that at the stadium or at their homes, when the Pledge of Allegiance is going on, they're not standing up. They don't take their hat off. They don't put their hands on their chest. Yeah, they're just chilling. They're at the stadium, just getting food on their phone, cooling it. So I hate that hypocrisy. But at the same time, even the other side, the people aren't being hypocritical. They just have to see that this is bigger than us disrespecting the flag to the military and all of that. That's not the message at all. Some people try to twist it that way as a distraction, as a barricade for the actual purpose we're trying to present and stand for. But yeah, because at the end of the day, even a lot of my family that's military, they feel like their Black is more of a threat, is more threatened than their military representation. So at the end of the day, the Black cause is in more dire need of attention and help and focus than any of the military problems that the military people are having, because a lot of people are both Black and military. So yeah, and then it was just wild how it spiraled out of control, because Michael Thomas, even though I'm not a big fan of him usually on Twitter and stuff, he's been stepping up big time, and he's had some very good quotes lately. I'm gonna have to find some, but basically he called them out. Huh?
What I don't like what Michael Thomas did is that when Drew Brees made that PR apology, Michael Thomas okay, man, you good. We still good. Now let's go get some touchdowns. Let's possibly win the Super Bowl. He just forgave him. It was a PR apology. You can't make that statement and then 2 days later, all of a sudden, just have a whole epiphany. No.
Yeah.
He's been saying the same mess for a few years now since Kaepernick's been kneeling. He's been saying like, oh, he doesn't represent what Kaepernick kneels for. And then he kneels with his teammates to send a message. But that was just like one game. And then all of a sudden he's still back behind the flag. And when Blackout Tuesday happened, where everybody was posting their Instagram pictures, their blacked out Instagram pictures, I did too. I specifically checked Drew Brees' Instagram just to see if he did that. Because if I said if Drew Brees did that, I would have said to myself, like, he'll be the biggest hypocrite ever. Because he criticized Kaepernick for kneeling. And then all of a sudden you want to post a blackout picture to saying that you are down for the cause. This is why Kaepernick was kneeling. This whole George Floyd incident is why Kaepernick was kneeling in the first place. This is what he was kneeling for. He always said that. And now when this happens, now you want to go on that statement and say, oh, yeah, I support the black community. If you supported, then you would have supported Kaepernick back then.
Exactly.
And even Van Negro Jones said, just tuning in, great place to come in, seeing I'm retired Air Force, and I'll take a knee in a heartbeat. See, yeah,
yes,
many
sir.
people have that same mindset. Like, look, they'll take a knee because even though they serve for America, they feel like America still hasn't done right by them if you are black, or even if you are any other race as well, like Hispanic as well. Any other, like Hispanic, black, America hasn't done right by us. And this is what Kaepernick was kneeling for. The hypocrisy of the NFL as well, saying that they are for George Floyd, but you cannot sign Kaepernick at all. You even gave him a bogus workout in Atlanta just for public relations, just so Jay-Z could patch things up with his fans, which you weren't going to sign him at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole situation is so crazy. But like you said, I don't like the fact that a lot of people are like recanting their statements. Like you said, how Michael Thomas was like, oh, we're cool now just because he apologized. I mean, once I see action behind his apology and that he truly understands and like his perspective is actually changed, then I'm willing to accept Michael Thomas accepting his apology. But one thing that Michael Thomas did say that I like is basically he said, what if 2020 isn't canceled? What if 2020 is the year we've been waiting for? A year so uncomfortable, so painful, so scary, so raw that it finally forces us to grow. So I do like that message. It came from Leslie DeWhite. That's what Michael Thomas tweeted. I do like that message. That, I mean, a lot of us have been joking like 2020 is the worst year ever and stuff, but it does seem like a blessing in disguise because it's finally 2020 has brought a lot to light that normally has not been brought to light. I mean, we've had several different movements and peaceful protests and all kinds of stuff in the past, over the past really hundreds of years technically, but this is the first time that it seems like it's like a real, like it's actually has a real effect on things. I mean, even like when you're on Call of Duty, it says Black Lives Matter on the loading screen, and then even before you're searching for a match, it says Black Lives Matter at the bottom right. And they delayed anything. They were supposed to come out with like an update, give us new guns, possibly a new map and stuff on Tuesday. They said they're delaying it till further notice for the Black Lives Matter movement. Apple Music, I'm not sure how long they did it, but for at least a day, anything that wasn't made by colored people was taken off of Apple Music. Sony has delayed all of their things. I forgot it's a few other people. It's a lot of different places. And even K-pop, the K-pop artists went and spammed, I think, All Lives Matter or White Lives Matter, one or the other, and just put a whole bunch of K-pop stuff so that, it washed away them trying to take, just like how they're trying to take attention away from Black Lives Matter. K-pop people attacked the White Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, and just flooded it with K-pop stuff. So shouts out to Korea for helping us in that way. So it's a lot of different movements that are involved from different perspectives and different walks of life that just have never been involved like normal. That normally we haven't been able to get this large of a crowd, this large of a participation, especially with a lot of stuff getting caught on camera. I mean, you look on Twitter every 5 minutes, there's something crazy going on, and usually these things go unseen or unnoticed.
And during a pandemic too, a pandemic where we're supposed to stay at home, we're supposed to socially distance, but we are tired. We are tired. We are tired to the point where even with the pandemic, we said, like, we don't care about this pandemic anymore. We're going to protest and we're going to show you that we are tired of the injustice against the Black community.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, if I will only accept Drew Brees' apology if he actually acts on it and he can somehow prove that he actually believes in it. It's not just saying it, it's not an empty apology. And because I mean that was a pretty ignorant statement at first, in my opinion.
You know what will accept his apology? If he could get Kaepernick signed by any
if he
team.
can somehow vouch to get that, that would be a nice little first step.
Yeah, that's when I can accept his apology because honestly, I think this is just the PR. This is just shouts out to the publicist on that apology. Of course, he did make an Instagram video where he was talking face to face to make sure he's truthful, but I still can't believe 2 days removed from making that statement, all of a sudden you're going to be like, okay, I saw a whole epiphany. I know a lot of his teammates talked to him. I know a lot of his former teammates talked to him. Marquis Colston was disappointed as well. Malcolm Jenkins was disappointed as well.
Alvin Kamara has been all over Twitter.
Yeah, so a lot of his teammates, a lot of his former teammates. So I know he did affect a lot of his brothers, a lot of the people that he break the huddle with. So he knew that coming to that next season was going to be really awkward after making those statements. But if he's really sorry, Drew Brees is a very powerful person. He's an NFL player, but he's an NFL ambassador. He's on so many billboards. He's on so many commercials. He does so many charitable work for the NFL that his words will hold weight. So if he really apologizes, I feel like if he wants to get in the NFL, he can vouch to get Kaepernick back in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely hold more weight than they may admit. Just so that they can alleviate responsibility for things like that. They probably will try to act like they're not able or capable to get Kaepernick a job in the NFL, but that's probably just to alleviate responsibility and make it look like, oh, it's out of my hands. I can't do anything about it. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. So, yeah, the whole situation is crazy, but it's great to see that, like, I mean, when somebody like Drew Brees says something like that, there's so many people standing up. Like, I forgot the black lady that was on First Take and spoke about it. She was very well spoken, but also liked how serious she was about it and how unapologetic she was about her stance on it. And I just love the fact that through media and all various channels and different ways that people can see us and hear us, everybody's speaking on it, and not even just black people of every color, even some white people seem to be very genuine about it. And it just seems that it's like a really good movement, and I'm happy that things are finally being done.
Yeah, and when I'm doing my daily walks, there was one night where it was like about 10 p.m. I just saw a random black person, a random black man, and a random black woman just hugging each other. It was
That's
so
dope.
random. But I think that's just a sign of times right now. You have some white people who are just they're just so sorry for their race. Are so sorry for what that police officer has done, and they just want to let us know that they're standing with us, that they're not against us, that they're standing with us. And I think as a community, we gotta also realize that not everyone is against us. Yes, we got the cops against us. We got some white people who say all lives matter, but we don't look at every white person and automatically deem, oh, they're against us.
Yeah, we definitely have to be more open and receptive. There's no way we can just be narrow-minded and just attack anybody that isn't us, because that's basically just reversing the issue that we're trying to get rid of back onto it. It's reciprocating the same energy. So yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely have to stay open-minded with everything.
Exactly.
And then also, of course, we have Jake Fromm. I've never said that's my boy, so let's get that out the way. I've hated him more than y'all have since
he's more than Robin, so I already knew what to expect.
You already knew from where he was from.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't surprising. It wasn't surprising to me.
So I don't want to keep hearing about your boy Jake Fromm, this StreetScores boy, Rico's boy, nothing. I've hated him more than y'all have. During the draft process, people kept saying that I was tripping for thinking he was gonna go later than the 4th round. I was like, bro, he's not that good. He's like a majority of the reason why Georgia has not gotten a recent championship. I believe that wholeheartedly. So I was already detached from him, already wanted him gone. And now the elite white people statement is just like, that was over the top. And for those of y'all who don't know, Jake Fromm basically said he was having a conversation with somebody through text message who exposed him. That's another part of this. He didn't say this openly. So this could have gone unnoticed.
And I believe this was also like a few years ago too. It wasn't recent.
Yeah, I've heard that also. But it's the fact that it was like, it was exposed. He didn't say this out loud, so he didn't expose this. Somebody else had to. So if this person didn't expose him, this would have never gone unnoticed. We would have never known this, how Jake Fromm felt about the situation. But basically, they were talking about gun control and stuff. And that makes sense too, because that was a big topic a little while ago. And he basically said that only elite whites should be allowed to buy guns. And so, yeah, and it's so crazy because, again, it's just like the fact that it was exposed by somebody else. It wasn't said in public. It was between a personal text message group through iPhone. So the fact that he's felt like this, and we would have never known, he would have never come out and apologized or changed the way he thought if this person didn't expose him. So
and I don't know if you've seen this after, but they were pressuring the person to delete the text messages. Delete the text messages.
Oh, tragic. I didn't even know that. So he was trying to recover.
She basically responded like, well, that's not my problem. It's like,
man.
They asked her, why did you bring this up now? Because she said that with this situation going on with George Floyd, she said that it's her duty to bring everything out. To hold him accountable.
Exactly. I'm glad she did.
And then when I think it was Fromm's friend that was responding back to her about this, and then Fromm's friend was like, well, because the girl, she said she didn't think he would lose his job over it, but Fromm's friend is like, the Bills are thinking about cutting him, and she said, well, that's not my problem.
I mean, what were they gonna do with him anyway? They already have what's his name, John Allen, and then their backup is already, I forgot who the backup was. He's already more experienced. I mean, Jake Fromm's like third on the QB depth chart anyway. So why would you take this baggage?
He was already expendable. And you know what? Good riddance. Jake, that is just an example. He was a 5-star quarterback, I believe. A 5-star quarterback from Warner Robins, Georgia. Won a state championship there. Went to UGA. He's supposed to be the next big thing. Then he just sabotaged his whole career. He's just been sabotaging himself. And honestly, even before I read anything when my roommate actually first told me about this Jake Fromm story, and when he told me about Jake Fromm, I was like, oh, let me guess. He said something All Lives Matter related. Like, he's from Warner Robins, Georgia. If you've been in Georgia and you've been around that area, you can definitely see. It's like those suburban areas. I mean, Warner Robins has Black people there, but it's just that atmosphere. It's like you'll see probably Confederate flags everywhere. It's just mostly red, mostly Republican. I grew up in a similar area like that, so I know. So honestly, it really didn't surprise me at all. And
I mean, for those of y'all who don't know, Atlanta's the blackest city in America. But as soon as you leave Atlanta, I mean, even just the metropolitan area, it's the complete opposite. The complete and utter opposite.
If you want to know why we got Kemp as our governor, it's because of everywhere else outside of Atlanta and Smyrna, where the Braves play.
Exactly.
My boy, are the only two blue cities. Everywhere else is red.
Exactly. The whole state, the entire state.
There's places in Georgia where some people, they only seen Black people on TV. They haven't seen Black people in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's definitely parts of Georgia that is like not even one Black person in that city. That's still a thing. Even though Atlanta's the blackest city in America, is surrounded by the complete opposite for the majority of the rest of the state. Also, before we move on, shouts out to Mr. Finesse. Thank you for the donation. Yes, sir. Really appreciate that. Yes, sir. And also I saw a question. Yes, this is a Wes Unseld jersey. RP to Wes Unseld. I had to put it on. Shouts out to my mom for giving me the jersey. This is her jersey.
Oh, the legend, yeah. But before we get to the next topic about the NFL's return, I do want to talk about the NFL's hypocrisy. This is going back to Kaepernick, where they posted the black photo as well, and they posted that they stand with George Floyd. But if the NFL really does stand with George Floyd, why was Kaepernick blackballed? Why do you feel like you have to add a draft pick just for any team to hire a black general manager or a black head coach? Why?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just one of them. It's cool to do now. Like now no matter what's going on, it's just better to be on Black Lives Matter side, PR wise for the NFL. Back then, it wasn't the cool thing to do. It wasn't a popular thing to do. They weren't willing to take any heat to lead the movement when they had the chance. So now they're trying to hop on the bandwagon.
Yeah, it's all public relations. It's not just the NFL too. It's many companies. I know you mentioned Call of Duty. NBA 2K is doing the same Black Lives Matter as well on my court. But it's a lot of companies. They're saying Black Lives Matter, but I'm looking at it. Does Black Lives really matter to you? Or it's just because now we're affecting your bottom line, that if you don't say Black Lives Matter, you're going to be affecting your sales. A lot of people are going to throw backlash at you at social media, and then you're going to lose as a business because of that. So I wonder if just companies, NFL, and well, NBA was always for it. NBA was always for it. But the NFL and major other leagues, like let's say NASCAR said it. Like, come on now. Like, are we really? So like you're saying it now, but you're saying it because it's a fad. You're not saying it because you really mean it. If you really meant it, Kaepernick would not have gotten blackballed.
Exactly. I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, the main thing to basically summarize and review is that I hate the fact that people see kneeling during the flag as a disrespect towards the flag. There's so many military people who have spoken up, not even just black, that have said, yeah, I agree with kneeling during the flag. That's the only time people will listen. That's the time you have the most people's attention. That's when it sparks up the most nerves, the most controversy, the most healthy conversation. And then just and it's also the fact that we're not, even though the flag technically, even though the national anthem has a very big racist part towards slaves and about how slaves shouldn't be allowed to live good lives, like it's like later in the third verse or whatever, but just the flag itself it's supposed to represent freedom and equality, but that has never been represented within the country of that oppose that flag. So I don't see it as disrespect to kneel against the flag, because even me, I feel like kneeling against the flag is pushing against the notion that we are equal under liberty, all that type of stuff. That is definitely not true so far. So I am in complete agreement with kneeling during the national anthem.
And I had this question posed to me on one of my friends that I went to college with. Shouts out to Catherine. She asked me and a bunch of other people, what is freedom? And are we free right now? Well, technically by the amendments, we are free, but we don't have freedom. And as in freedom, I mean, we don't have complete freedom. Like, for example, me and you, Rico, when we were doing the Patriots Falcons video from the Super Bowl, remember when we went to Lenox Mall and that we went to Neiman Marcus? I think that was the store.
Oh, Neiman Marcus. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Neiman Marcus, yeah. And I mean, I don't have dreads. I don't know if they were profiling us because of that. You're a dreadhead. One of our mutual friends, Marcel, was a dreadhead. Who else was there? I think there's someone else that was a dreadhead there as well. But the employees looked at us and started locking their jewelry.
I forgot all about that.
Where I'm like a year removed from getting my bachelor's. You just graduated from your master's. But they're looking at us and they look at us as black people in their store that can't afford anything they have. And we're clearly wrong about that. So I say that's not freedom. That's not freedom. To me, my definition of freedom is to live life without being discriminated, without worrying if I get stopped by a cop. And the worst case scenario is me being on CNN News and me being like George Floyd. That's the worst case scenario for me. I want my worst case scenario if I get stopped by an officer to be a ticket. To me, that's the best case scenario, being stopped by an officer. I remember the first time I ever got stopped by an officer while driving, and I was scared. Yes, I was speeding, but it was like a couple days removed from Philando Castile's murder. So it got me scared just when I got stopped by a cop. Even though the cop was cool, but just the fact that I have to have that fear in my mind is a problem. And I say that's not freedom. That's not freedom.
Definitely not. I mean, even just the way we're raised, not only with our parents warning us about a lot of different stuff, but just the fact that somebody had a good point. I forgot somewhere I saw on Twitter that we're raised to present ourselves a certain way. Like a lot of us learn to pick up a different skill, like play an instrument, art, or even go to college to get like the bachelor's, master's, PhDs, not necessarily because we just wholeheartedly want to, but it's like a way to present ourselves as less dangerous, less threatening, and like we have more of a purpose in life just to be equal, you know. So it just even goes with the way that we're raised. And I mean, just from beginning to end of our lives, we're always focused on how we present ourselves. We might speak a different way in different environments, like especially work environments and in college. I enunciate more just to seem a little less threatening and stuff, you know. And it is, I mean, you never really think about the stuff because you're kind of used to it. It's just the way life goes. But when you really sit down and think about it, that just shouldn't be how it is, because people of other races normally don't even have to think about stuff like that, how they present themselves. How a lot of times I wear my locks up or back just to, you know, present myself a certain way, even though I prefer them down, things like that. So, and again, with enunciating the way, I might even switch up my walk, because I do kind of have like a little, you know, black lean with my walk. So sometimes I'll try to walk a little bit more casual. So, that, you know what I'm saying? And I hate sagging pants.
In college, you did your own walk regardless.
You know, in college, but I'm saying like other settings. Okay. I'm saying in other settings, I will change up my walk sometimes, like especially if I'm walking into somewhere like fancy or like some place of employment or something like that. I will switch up my walk a little bit, and I definitely enunciate better. Just like on these streams, how I enunciate more than I just naturally do. I also do that. I definitely won't, because I love dancing. I'll just be walking and I'm dancing. So sometimes I even stop dancing for just to, you know, just to not, you know, I don't know. It's weird. It's just not to project anything, to be judged prematurely and stuff like that. So, yeah, and it's just crazy that other people don't have to think about stuff like that.
Yeah, and shouts out to Scotty H419 with the $5 pound donation.
Yes, sir. My boy. Yes, sir.
The quote, keep teaching me on the movement as a white guy in the UK. I don't see the same social injustice and police brutality. I hope you get equality. Hashtag Black Lives Matter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, when I was in Spain studying abroad, whenever I was on the sidewalk, people would cross the street to go to the other sidewalk. And then when they passed me, they would come back. It was funny to me. I'm not going to lie. First of all, I didn't have to deal with people in my way.
I could see that in Spain and in Italy, because they don't really have too many black people.
Especially I was in Sevilla, so I wasn't even in Barcelona, none of the big cities. I was like their equivalent of Oklahoma.
Sevilla's is the suburbs.
Yeah. So I liked it. It was like I had my own little force field bubble to where I didn't have to deal with people walking close to me. So that was cool. But at the same time, you know, it's just not something that shouldn't be happening. But it was funny to me. I mean, people would literally go out their ways, cross traffic, go on the sidewalk, and then come back to the sidewalk after I passed them. I mean, that was pretty funny to me. I'm not gonna lie, and it was quite consistent.
In the UK, from what I inferred, and from some friends I had that were exchange students from the UK and went to St. John's with us, was that the UK is not even as half as racist as the US. They still have their fair share of racism, but the UK is a lot more accepting. It's a lot more accepting. And what I've seen throughout the world of sports is that even if you watch the Bundesliga, German soccer, there was a player, Jadon Sancho, who is from England, who plays for Borussia Dortmund, who after he scored a goal, he raised up his shirt and it said "Justice for George Floyd." This is in Germany. In Germany, they are standing for us in Germany. So this is how worldwide this movement is right now. And the fact that other countries is standing by us, it makes me wonder, are they going through those same racial issues? I know some countries are, like you mentioned, Spain, Italy, they are not really that great with racial relations yet. But it's still sad, like how big, how large this country of the United States is, and we still deal with our fair share of racism. And just to anybody who still doesn't believe racism exists, we are not even 100 years removed from segregation. So we still have people who lived in the segregation era still in the US. And it's hard to live in that era and then just completely get that out your mindset. So we are still developing. We are still developing. And this is why we say Black Lives Matter. It's not to discount all lives, because all lives do matter. It's just that we feel like Black lives don't matter enough. Honestly, I feel like dog lives matter more than Black lives matter sometimes.
They do, honestly, sometimes they do.
That whole Vic scandal was, I feel that was more that took on more anger than Black lives. They dealt with Vic quicker than they deal with a cop killing a Black person.
That is very true. And also to piggyback on like how with each generation, there's a little bit more progress, and especially the older generations are stuck in a certain mindset that they have to work out of. I've been seeing all over Twitter people it's like little kids that are like white, like around 14 years or younger, arguing with their parents about like how, this like lives are not equal. And then the parents are fighting back like, well, they're equal enough, or why does it matter? One parent even said, well, I don't care if it takes them twice as hard to get to where to where we are. When they're there, they're fine usually, or something like that. And like the daughter was just arguing back, like that's not okay. They shouldn't have to work twice as hard.
No.
And all of that type of stuff. So it's like it's also, I'm glad they're helping also, like little kids that are, of different races, like trying to, they're actually having full-blown arguments with their parents about why what's going on is bad, and the parents are for some reason fighting back. And also one mother was like, what are you gonna do about it? Basically shutting down the kids' hopes of contributing and helping. She was basically just demeaning the kid and was like, well, I mean, even if you do feel that way, and clearly she didn't, the mother didn't, but the daughter did. And she was like, well, now what are you going to do about it? What can you even possibly do to help and stuff like that? So even just that video itself, making it to Twitter and having hundreds of thousands of retweets and likes is a big impact. So, shouts out to those who are helping in any way that they can.
Yeah. And the kids right now, they are the future. They are our light to stop racism, because they are seeing all this firsthand. They grew up with social media. So they seen racism firsthand that going on from different states, from different parts of the country, from different countries. They've seen racism. They've seen cyberbullying. They've seen everything. They've seen more about the world than I'd say when I've seen for like my first 15 years. An 8-year-old could have seen more of the world than I've seen during my first 15 years of my life, where I didn't really have too much social media, because they get to see the world through social media. Back in the 90s, I feel like racism was much worse. Police brutality was much worse in the 90s. If you listen to old school rap, they talk about that heavily. NWA was founded off police brutality. NWA, they formed their group to talk about police brutality. You have Big L who made songs about police brutality. You had Jay-Z. You have many rappers who made songs about police brutality back in the 90s. But it was underreported. Why? Because we did not have social media. So there could have been there could have been thousands of other George Floyds that happened in the 90s, but we never got a chance to see it. So this is why social media has been good for us, because it gives us a voice. It gives us a voice to say Black Lives Matter.
Exactly. I definitely agree. And also I saw like way early in the chat that a lot of people are asking like, should the Redskins change the name? I'm neutral. Like I've seen several reports from even like Native American responders and interviews and stuff like that they feel like the name isn't racist, and some of them prefer to have a team that actually represents them at the NFL level and stuff. And then of course there's some that feel like it is racist. So I'm very neutral. Like if it does change, I'm not so attached to the Redskins name that I'm like, no, don't change it. This is our name and we're going to keep it. I'm not one of those guys at all. If they want to change it, change it. If they don't change it, I'm cool. I'm super neutral on it. Because at the end of the day, like I've said, there's been countless people saying that they don't find it offensive. The people that should find it offensive don't find it offensive. So it's hard for me to really have an opinion on it, because even though I have like a tiny bit of Native American in my blood, I identify just solely as Black. So I can't really dish on it. But it is a really interesting topic. But at the same time, I'm super neutral. I really don't care. We can become the Red Spears. We can become whatever. We can become the Washington football guys. I honestly literally don't care. I'm not attached to the name. It doesn't matter.
What's with Washington and having all these controversial names? Like your jersey, the Washington Bullets, which the Wizards had.
Oh yeah, you're talking about when the crime was bad and they changed it to the Wizards back when DC was terrible. Yeah. I like that name, the Washington Allskins. I've never heard of that. That's interesting.
That's
I kind of like that, Allskins. That's like Unity. I like that. That's my favorite. That's my favorite one.
Looking at this from a PR standpoint, it could also make it seem like it could sound like All Lives Matter, which not saying
yeah, that is true.
Someone's probably going to take it that way. So
yeah, that could. Like yeah, people are always going to find a way to misconstrue something, but that's definitely something that could easily they could just take it to the negative side immediately. So yeah.
Okay, huh? I'm seeing in the comments that I need to shut up about your city.
That's Rich. He said no. This no. Shay, you got a point. That Washington Bullets. I mean, I like the Washington Bullets name. I like the Washington Bullets name.
From PR standpoint, like I'm just trying to say, just PR standpoint. Like if I'm in public relations, I'm looking at that name. I'm trying to see any sort of consequence of having that name. Any sort of any sort of like negative reaction that could possibly generate from having that name. And that's what I see.
You know, also at the same time with the Redskins name, like it would be nice to have ESPN, NFL Network, and all of these people off our backs, especially the people who refuse to acknowledge us and are definitely prejudiced against the Redskins because of our name. But at the same time, I'm not trying to appease anybody. If we feel like that name is not racist, if the people who the name is apparently racist towards don't feel it's racist, then I'm not trying to appease and press other people and, you know, kiss up to them and be like, you know, appreciate us, acknowledge us, you know, it's not that bad. At the end of the day, if they feel like it's that way, I'm not going to hurt myself to convince them otherwise.
Yeah, I got a question. My high school is called the McEachern Indians. Is that name offensive to you or not?
I've always hated how people call Native Americans Indians. I hate that personally because it's so ignorant. Because he thought he was going to, he thought he was going to India, landed over here, and just was like, oh, okay, they're brown, so they're Indians. I've always corrected people growing up when I was a kid that they're not Indians, it's Native Americans. Technically, it's not even Native Americans because they didn't name the country America. It was an Italian guy that named it America. But still, that's better than calling them Indians, which they aren't at all. Like, they're not even Indian at all.
Very offensive, but just because they're a high school, no one is going to tell them.
Yeah, nobody's going to care, yeah.
And there's many high schools that probably have that name as well.
I didn't even know that, though. The Indians, that's wild. They didn't even try.
McEachern Indians. And McEachern is actually a pretty good high school from an athletic standpoint. So I'm actually surprised that hasn't been brought up yet.
Yeah, bro, that's so random.
Basketball schools in the nation. So, yeah, I'm surprised that it hasn't been brought up yet.
The Indians, that's wild. I didn't even know that. But I hate the whole Indian thing. I don't like that. That's because it's just ignorant. But yeah, I'm definitely. So we moving on to the NFL's almost return now because this is getting really interesting. The NFL has allowed coaches to return to training facilities, but at the same time, it's on a per state basis on whether or not that state that the training facility is in, that the team is based in, that will allow the coaches and players to return yet. So that's going to be weird because some teams are going to have strategic advantages because their states are more lax on rules. Like California teams are going to struggle because they're going to be the most strict, while teams in the South like Georgia or even Virginia with Maryland, they don't care as much. So like we'll be able to return to camp as soon as possible and stuff like that. Hold on, my mommy's calling. Go ahead and say whatever you have to say. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay, well, yeah, like you said, California, they don't have the advantage, and some teams like the Redskins, for example, the Dwayne Haskins, he's still a young quarterback. He needs that training camp time. I believe it was Earl Clark on NFL Live who said that teams who have a lot of players 4 years or under in the NFL, it's going to affect them a lot. But with teams that are experienced, like let's say for the example, New Orleans Saints, they don't really need this time anyways, which is why Sean just tell the players like, look, this is your break. Have a break. Take care of this social injustice. Go to George Floyd's funeral. Houston Texans as well, because they got more experienced players. But young teams like the Redskins, like the Browns, like the Chargers as well, they're at a disadvantage because it's time to function. Buccaneers, they got it lucky because they live in Florida, and Florida is about as open as last year. Like, it seems like nothing has changed in Florida. I mean, they're having wrestling shows in Florida. So the Buccaneers, Brady can do whatever he wants.
Basically. But yeah, I mean, it's wild that we're actually getting to the point that it looks like football will come back, especially with NBA spearheading the movement. And we're going to talk about that later. But also the NFL said that, like, you can only be at like your real facilities. You know how like the Cowboys go all the way to LA so they can draw a bigger crowd to their training camps. They're not allowed to do that. How the Redskins are not allowed to, we can't have training camp in Richmond, which we've done in the past like 9 years or something like that. It's been a while.
Packers as well. They never practice in Wisconsin. They always travel as well. And this will be their first time they ever practice inside their home stadium, their home practice field.
Yeah, so I mean that's weird. I mean, because at the end of the day, I don't really feel like it matters that much having to go back to where you normally go and not drawing as much of a crowd anyway, because they're probably gonna have huge regulations on crowds. Like, you're gonna have to be 6 feet apart, or you're gonna have to be restricted to certain areas, or they may not allow fans to come like for a long period of time, or if at all at any point during training camp. So I'm not really against it. I know like the Redskins, we're on our final contract for Richmond this year. So that's literally the last year we'll ever be in Richmond for training camp probably. And we'll probably be in Ashburn until further notice. So anybody that loved training camp in Richmond, go ahead and say goodbye. Last year was the last year. So yeah, it's really interesting that the NFL is doing anything they can to bring people in slowly, I guess. To allow testing to be easier as they get more processes and stuff. But it's weird to kind of just, let some people in, but not all. Just because it's like, what if are you saying like the coaches don't have it, but the players do? But I see what they're saying, letting everybody come back slowly so that they can learn how to, get their processes together, how to test people properly, how to keep people separated with a smaller crowd. And then they can, learn from that, what worked well, what worked poorly, and then expand it to when they let the players come back. And, a training camp is about like 90 people on the field. There's all types of coaches, all kinds of training staff, medical guys. So it's going to be like at least like 200 people involved. That's not even including the fans. So that's when it really gets complicated.
I still can't see how they can possibly test everybody, like on each team. I still can't see that.
Yeah, it's going to be really weird. Like, that's going to be a lot of supplies that at first it seemed like we didn't have. They were acting like we didn't have enough tests to supply the general public, and we're acting like it's just so expensive and hard to come by. And then out of nowhere, they're just going to be ready to test all of these NFL teams, coaches, and players suddenly. So, you just see there where priority lies. Huh?
What's weird is that Georgia's actually giving out free tests. Like, I heard Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah, my friend, I know Dan Snyder's doing that for the Redskins also, but I have one of my friends, he went to go get tested for free because he had to get surgery on his leg, and like the hospital that he's doing it at, we're like, basically you can't come here unless you prove that you don't have coronavirus. So he went and got a free test before he went to go get his leg surgery.
You see, I'm iffy on that test because I heard it's painful. Like, they put something in the back
up there, I've heard. I mean, he recorded it too. It looked uncomfortable. It looked like he was all right. He didn't necessarily say it was painful. He just said it was a very weird, uncomfortable feeling. But he didn't mention anything about pain.
But I'm starting to think that, like, once things start to normalize again, I feel like before we could go inside certain buildings, like inside the NFL stadium, we have to prove that we gotten tested. And I really don't want to test myself because I'm hearing how that test works, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, there has to be an easy way to test you. Like, put like your finger on something and then prove you don't have coronavirus. Like I can't be having something sticking up my nose and going to the back of my head. Like what if they like mess up? Like what if their hands just twitch and then all of a sudden like I got brain damage? I don't know.
Yeah, and now you have short-term memory loss.
I'm saying, like
Yeah,
I don't want to
there's no
risk it.
reason for me to get tested. I don't leave the house. We left the house today to vote, but me and my mom and I took extreme precaution. We were separated from everybody by at least 6 feet. We wore our mask. I had my hair wrapped up in my little rag like this, but not this one because my mom's gonna wash the one I wore. We quarantined the clothes. They're about to get washed and everything that we wore out. We were not playing. So we made sure we voted, but we definitely stayed safe.
I'm guilty. I admit I took a cheat day last Saturday, but that was about it. Every other day I was quarantined, but last Saturday I had to see some of my friends I haven't seen in like 9 years. So it was like, you know what? Let me just take this one day out. I'm not going to see my parents. Well, my parents are elderly, so I'm not seeing my parents anyway. So like, let me just take this one day, and after that, I'm going to quarantine. But like, hey, that was last Saturday. I heard these tests take about 2 to 14 days. I've heard coronavirus take 2 to 14 days for it to matriculate, and I don't feel sick at all. I feel good. I feel good. So I think I didn't harm myself there.
Okay, cool. You dodged one. Yeah, live your truth, man. Hey, you took a day. You took a day, man. I can't be mad at it.
That's like a cheat day when you're working out. Like I'm quarantining now.
I feel it. I feel it. So yeah. So then also we have the NBA with a lot of big news. I'm not sure if you heard, Seyi, but they've come out with a lot of crazy details about how the NBA is about to look. First of all, there's going to be a training camp June 30th. And in July 7th, they're going to travel to Orlando. And basically everything is going to happen in Orlando. They're going to be staying in hotels. They're going to all stay like in a general vicinity. They're not going to be allowed to leave. They said they're not going to like try to force people to stay like by force, like policing, but they strongly encourage everybody to stay within like a certain campus or whatever. And they're going to be able to have 22 teams competing. So the 2019-2020 season is gonna start July 31st. Free agency will happen October 18th, and they're targeting the 2020 and 2021 season to start. The training camp will start November 10th, and then December 1st will be the opening night. So, like we spoke about in the last stream last Friday, like they're not just gonna let them not have some sort of an off season. So apparently, the season will end October. They'll have like a month off. They'll start training camp in November, and then they'll come back December 1st. And then also it's crazy how many teams are there because it's going to be 13 Western Conference teams. There's going to be 9 Eastern Conference teams. Every team is going to have 8 regular season games, and then they're going to go straight to the playoffs. And then this had to get approved, and the NBA PA's player representatives approved of the 22 team format to complete the 2019-2020 season. So it's definitely happening. It's definitely on the way. And now I have to find the rules because there's going to be, because you know how, like, since it's going to be in Orlando, technically nobody's a home team. They're going to have all sorts of crazy rules. Like,
if they're miraculously make the playoffs, but I think they're already out. They're already out anyway. So
yeah. So we're not worried about Orlando. So yeah. So basically, they're going to have it to where like the home team or like the higher seeded team will have priorities on hotels. These are all speculations and what possibilities. So they'll have priority. The higher seeded teams will have priorities on the best hotels. The higher seeded teams, as like a home court advantage, will receive the ball 3 quarters first out of 4 quarters. You know, it's normally 2 and 2. They'll get the ball first 3 quarters. They're planning. Also, I saw somewhere they plan on using 2K crowd noise to make the games feel more real. They're gonna not real basketball crowd noise, NBA 2K crowd noise.
Like we said in the last podcast, I felt like they had to do something since the Bundesliga, German soccer, they had their fake crowd noise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they had to do something. But it's
crowd noise.
Yeah, I mean 2K, NBA 2K crowd noise. I mean, it sounds decent enough. I can't be mad at it. But yeah, they're gonna have play-ins for the 8th seeds.
So we can't simulate Boston Celtics chants with like let's say when a certain Lakers like on the line, They're chanting like derogatory words. We can't say that. We can't do that.
I don't think it's gonna be that specific. I guess they're
Like,
gonna have generic crowds.
Lamar Odom for dating a Kardashian. They can't.
No, they're not gonna have that specific chance. I think it's just gonna be yay and boo. I think.
So what if a fight break out? Like, what if people start pushing and punching each other? Is it still gonna be just basic noise?
It's just gonna be basic boos. Just. But yeah,
we don't want fighting. We don't want fighting at all. Get that out of here. Get them attacked.
But it's gonna be so weird. I don't understand. I just have to see that first game. I can't wait to see how it's applied.
It's gonna be comedy for me. I probably can't even take that seriously. I guess why they're doing the crowd noise, because Fox Sports is doing it with soccer, but as well, a lot of the players are very competitive. They'll probably cuss a lot. They don't want that. They don't want that on their speakers. So I know I get for that reason why they'll be playing the fake crowd noise from 2K, but I don't know. I can't take that seriously. I'm sorry.
But yeah, a lot of the projected rules, like a lot of things that they're like talking about and debating about, is that higher seeded teams will be able to they can get the first possession of the second half, the third, and the fourth quarter. And then so they'll get three quarters out of the four. They'll get the ball first as an added advantage. Also, they'll be able to have the opportunity to allow one player on their team to commit up to 7 fouls instead of the current maximum of 6. So whoever the highest seeded team is, technically the home team, they can choose one player that will be able to commit 7 fouls before they foul out. Let me see.
So this is probably gonna have a player intentionally fouling. I can already see a lot of loopholes to that rule.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna add some weird strategy that we've never seen before.
Never got in the game before, and then just like, hey, just get 7 fouls. Just worst free throw shooter.
Just go crazy. They also are considering transporting home court's hardwood floors to Orlando. So, like, say the Lakers are technically the higher seed and they're playing against a lower seed team, they would transport the Lakers hardwood floor to Orlando to, I guess, give them some sort of a hardwood floor advantage.
I guess I could see why that could be an advantage. I mean, if you play in one basketball court more than you play in the other, you'll get a better feel for it. Like, I remember
how do you transport that? By plane?
That's the thing.
Like, just the whole court? Is it like a big truck?
So wait, the people who transport it and who work on the court, are they going to have to get tested too? And then they're going to have to build the court. And then for the next game, for different teams, they're going to have to bring their own court. That's too much work.
Yeah, it's too much going on, man. We'll have to have 2-hour breaks in between games with everybody tested.
That's what it is. Just have NBA playoffs in the middle, the logo.
Nah, they're trying to recoup their money. I heard that with those 8 games that they'll have for each team, that they'll be able to recoup like $300 of the $600 million they lost from all of this going on. So you already know that they're doing it for money. Like you said last stream, they're doing it for money.
Only about money. It's not to see if the 9th seed can overtake the 8th seed. It's just about money. They lost so many dollars, especially Zion. Just seeing other Atlanta Hawks with Trae Young. Their teams might not be as good, but they draw ratings because of their players that they have. And they lost so much money just from that. And I was for example, I was going to go to a Pelicans Hawks game. I was going to go to my first game of that season. If this pandemic happened. I really wanted to see Zion, but unfortunately, it was March 29th too.
No, the craziest rule that they might implement is that the higher seeded teams may be able to pick their first round opponents. Like they may be able to choose who they go against. So, hey, man, I'm sorry if I'm the Lakers and LeBron, I'm going against the bummiest team in the playoffs first to get a week off. So that's crazy.
The best team that they can go with.
So get them out the way.
Yeah, get them out the way. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, it's a really interesting concept because, like I said, it's 13 Western Conference teams and 9 Eastern. So that means it's just a mix-up. It's not people only playing in the Western Conference and only in the Eastern Conference, and then they meet. It's going to be like a bracket.
It's not divided by conference.
Oh, this is going to be nice. I can't wait. I'm actually really excited about this.
It's going to be nice, but just as a basketball historian, as I like to call myself,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna give the champion, the winner of this playoffs, an asterisk. It's just too
Yeah,
different.
there's definitely gonna be like a you didn't really, yeah.
Yeah, it's way too different. Like I can't get used to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird to give any, and whoever wins the finals is definitely gonna be an asterisk next to it because it's just gonna be like the circumstances and all of that type of stuff.
I need a request too. Can they show the different types of hotels each team will have? Like, what I'm gonna say? What won't be much different from, let's say, what the Lakers get than what, let's say, I guess the Mavericks get. Like, what's gonna be the difference?
I don't know. It's all supposed to be centered around Disney World.
They're not gonna be living in the slums. I know that. So, like,
I mean, they said that the higher seeded teams may be able to pick, so maybe they'll get the ones with the most amenities, the best pools, the best everything like that. And I'm like you said, I don't think the Mavericks per se would get like a super bummy rundown hotel, but I'm assuming after like 21 teams pick, that 22nd team is definitely not going to have the hotel that you would idealistically want to strive to go, to go get when you were to visit Disney World. So it may be somewhat of a difference. I don't know. The fact that there's even an idea of that must mean there's some type of difference that, you and I just don't know about yet. There has to be something.
Like on TNT, they really need to show their hotels like in the introduction. Here's Los Angeles Lakers hotel. Oh, the nice Marriott. Got all these amenities, special pools, just special guests, special foods. Just show like everything that the hotels have, like the difference. That can add the storyline of it too. Oh, the team with the worst hotel ends up playing better. Are they more motivated because they have less amenities in the hotel? They have roaches. They have roaches on their walls. So because of that, they have to stay up at night.
And what if like a lower seeded team beats a higher seeded team? Do they get to take their hotel, or is nobody living in that hotel now? Are they fighting for hotels?
That's incentive right there. That hotel
I love that. I love the fact that I love the idea of them having to put their hotels on the line. I love that. That is a very interesting competitive advantage. Also, like we said, it may not be that much disparity in hotel quality, but what about location? Like, what if the Lakers choose a hotel that's like right next to where everybody goes to train and practice, and they can just walk to it, while another team is at a hotel where they have to catch an Uber or drive to it or take a bus, like a team bus or something? That might be a competitive advantage aspect to it. So like I said, I'm assuming, because it's been stated and it's being actually considered, there's some type of strategic advantage to these hotels, but I guess we'll see. And Brody, I wish there was some strategic advantage of why you were in my lap right now. What is going on? But yeah, man, these are a lot of crazy rules. I mean, the home team, higher seeded team, technically getting the ball 3 out of 4 quarters. So does that mean they're not gonna have a tip off? And then you get to pick the first seeded team.
To tip off, and then the rest of the quarters, the home team gets the ball.
But what if the home team wins the first? What if the home team wins the tip off? Do they get it all 4 times, or does the other team just get to pick a random quarter? Or do they just get it second quarter and the home team gets third and fourth automatically?
I don't know. If I was doing it, I guess they have it all 4 times.
That is wild. That is like actually, that is a very underrated advantage, getting the ball 4 times to start each quarter. That's big.
That's 8 extra points. That's at least 8 extra points. I mean,
exactly.
Least, but that could be from like 8 to like say 12 extra points.
Yeah, that's wild. That's like really wild. That could actually be like a big strategic advantage. And then also how interesting it could be that the higher seeded teams get to pick the team they want to play first in the playoffs, and that's hilarious. Because if the Lakers go and pick the worst team, that'll just say all you need to know about that worst team. Like, we picked you because we know you're the weakest link. And then that would also motivate them.
I think the Bucks.
The Bucks are the highest seed. Yeah. But I mean, that would just say a lot. I mean, then also the team that gets picked because they're supposedly the weakest link, that would give them all the more motivation to play as hard as they can and dethrone that top team, along with taking their hotel.
It's still not going to happen. Yeah. Well, let's be honest. It's still not going to happen. But so let's say if this is by conference, are the Bucks and Lakers, could they possibly not face each other in the finals?
Yeah, they could end up playing before then.
That happens.
Well, I'm pretty sure, that like we've discussed several times, all of these sports organizations are about their money, especially the NBA. They wouldn't allow that. I'm pretty sure however they set up the brackets, they're going to make sure the Bucks and the Lakers are as far away from each other as possible on the brackets. I'm pretty sure they're going to force it if they have to.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so also. I feel like we shouldn't have to worry about that because I'm pretty sure the NBA is going to do whatever they can in their power to make sure we have the best finals matchup possible.
I feel like this is also a way for the NBA to experiment for what their playoff format would be in the future, what they want it to be. So they're using this pandemic as also a way to experiment, like do away with conferences, have 22 teams, let them pick which team they want to face. So I say they're using this as an experimentation as well. And I also wonder, since the next season will come back December 1st, they got to have a shortened season. I can't see games, obviously. They got to do 41. They got to do half the season, 41.
Yeah.
Or 50, 60, something.
And I'm glad they're giving them some type of a break. They're giving them a month off after October 18th till November 10th when the training camp starts. They'll have some sort of a break because even though, they could be petty and technically be like, you're on break now. But, after the finals, they're going to need at least a month to recover before they head right back into training camp and into the next season. So I appreciate the NBA for at least giving them almost a month. It's really like 22 days, but that's all right. That's decent.
And then I also hear a rumor that 2K will still release at the same date.
Really?
September. Yeah, that's the rumor I hear. They're still going to release around the same date. So that means they're going to have to patch the rookies in.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. I wonder how they're going to do the draft.
They got to release in December. Like, this will finally give them time to actually work on the game and not release the same game. You're releasing this December too. I don't want them to release in September. I'm not going to play the game. They don't have the rookies patched in anyway. So, no, take the time to work on the game finally.
2K always seems rushed. I'm not even going to hurt myself. No matter when they release it, there's just going to be something wrong with it. I wouldn't be surprised. My player money. Yeah, man. My team and my player, the money getters for 2K easily, especially my team. My team is probably the biggest money getter. So, but also, like I mentioned earlier, I finally found it. The NBA said they're not going to necessarily add tracking devices to players, but they're going to try to keep everybody within a certain area so that they make sure that they're relatively quarantined. All the 22 teams. I'm not sure if they're going to allow their families to be with them or however that's going to work, but they're going to try to keep everybody in like one small confined area of like over Orlando. And then that kind of is interesting because like, are they going to do some type of like reality television for this? Because that could be really dope to like see what they're doing even beyond just the basketball part with everybody having to be around each other. I mean, 22 teams worth of players and possibly their families. There could definitely be a golden reality TV opportunity right there, especially since we'll have nothing else to watch.
Hey, I'll watch that.
Yeah, I'll definitely tune in. I'm definitely interested to see how everybody is hanging out.
You're telling some players that they can't go to the club, they can't go to any of the events that would be open. It's already open in Orlando, but more events that would be open during that time. You think some players are going to resist that temptation? Like if J.R. Smith was still playing, can he resist that temptation? If the Henny guy was still playing, could he resist that temptation?
That would be too temptation. That would be too big of a temptation for somebody like him. I know for a fact. I know for a physic. He wouldn't be able to control himself.
Which players should we watch for that?
There's gonna be specific players that I'm really interested in, but I just want to see who likes who. Like who like vibes together the most, because you already know like Katie and Kyrie, they're kind of the same crowd or whatever, but I'm like interested to see like who does John Wall hang out with, because John Wall is a little bit different. He got a little street to him, so I'm just interested to see what type of crowd, like which NBA players he likes to hang out with. Like Damian Lillard probably might be one of them.
Also with like people are still very good friends, so at least now they are.
Yeah. And I also want to see like how beefs might work out. Because I mean, I don't think Westbrook and Damian Lillard have like an on-site they fighting beef. But I would want to see how they act around each other. Like, say if they go to the same restaurant,
they'll give each other a nice mug and then look away. I say that.
Yeah, I just want to see how stuff like that works, you know. But also, like you said, like you about to lead, you can go ahead and take it on. Just like which specific players might be most exciting to just have a reality TV show on in general, not even just in relation with other players.
Yeah, you know, even your mom just said like no groupie love. Like some players are not going to have like it's going to be hard for some players just to be isolated. But
in Disney World.
in Disney World. But some players I would like to have a reality show on. I'll say Giannis. You know what?
Yeah.
Outside of basketball. I mean,
yeah, he's a mysterious guy.
Girlfriend, wife, but I think his wife, but I know at least girlfriend. But I've seen that, but we don't really know about Giannis outside of basketball. Of course, Kawhi. Of course, Kawhi.
Yeah, we need answers. We gotta see what Kawhi likes to eat. I need to know what this guy's life is like.
What does Kawhi do in quarantine? We have not heard from this man since.
Like, does he even play Xbox or PlayStation? What does he do for fun?
What does he do?
He seemed like the type of guy that like to play solitary by himself all day, a minesweeper. I don't know. He's just a weird dude. I'm interested in knowing what he does though.
And we got to see our good Rasta Tim Duncan. What has he been doing?
Oh yeah,
with the whole cape up dreads and everything.
I need to see his closet with all those oversized striped shirts. I need to see his closet. I need him to give a tour of his closet while he's in Orlando. I gotta see. I gotta know. Because I'm pretty sure it's a bunch of Echo Unlimited, a bunch of FUBU, Skechers, because he does not care. And I need that laugh. I need that laugh. I'm going to need that laugh. So, yeah.
I remember, like, it was, like, years ago. When we were in college, I always joke, like, what if we ever see Tim Duncan with locks or, like, with a trendy hairstyle? Yeah. I never thought I would see the day where he actually has that on.
He has, like, he don't have the hood locks. He has like the more poetry woke locks type of thing.
Yeah, I'm saying though, like
I like it.
You got that like ghetto locks, like
like
you seem like going to hit you with some spoken word real quick. Like I'll see Tim Duncan with that. I thought I would just see him with the same like buzz cut with the with no lineup. I just thought I would see him like that every single time, or with the shade
no lineup.
That was it.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of interesting characters that I like. Like I said, I want to just see the different crowds, like who hangs out with who, because Westbrook's kind of like a tweener, but I just can't see somebody like John Wall in his crowd being around people like Kyrie in his crowd. Like I'm just very interested in seeing. I'm just very interested in seeing how everybody vibes together when they're doing stuff, because I'm pretty sure people from other teams are gonna choose to hang out with whoever they want to hang out with, and we might even get some like. So in the reality TV, we might get some spade games or some domino games out of people. And I would love to see that. I would love to see like 4 NBA players, especially some strong personality guys, have some spades games against each other, play some poker. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different ways they can go with the reality television. Just give them a deck of cards and see what happens. Don't give them some dice, though. We don't need to see that on television with everything that's going on. But give them a deck of cards, give them some dominoes. I'm definitely down to watch that.
I'm all for it. Hey, if this gets the players, if the players get paid from this, get paid even more money, I see the players probably like, hey, want to videotape me in my life? Let's do it. If that gets a way to recoup some of the money that they lost during the pandemic, hey, I would want to watch it too.
And if like certain people like really shine, like ratings wise, and people like just really pull up to watch them after quarantine, after the NBA playoffs, they might get their own little spinoff. You know what I'm saying? Walk with Wall or something like that. Walk with Wall. Rest with Westbrook. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, just somebody might get a spinoff just from how interesting their life is, how interesting their personality is. So yeah, I just don't see any strategic negative to them having some sort of reality television involved with this whole 22 team playoff format that they're about to implement.
Yeah, like I'll be interested after reading this news to see what James Johnson of the Miami Heat. Well, still the Miami Heat. I know he was exiled, but he was like a black belt, and like he's from a family of black belts. Like I want to see like what he's about, because I remember when him and LeBron James were going at each other like years back. So I was
Yeah.
wondering, like, what this guy about behind the scenes?
Yeah, I saw on Twitter like somebody was like
Waiting.
you have to pick one guy to fight. Of course, they had Ron Artest, they had Zebo, they had a few of the older guys that had James Johnson and stuff. That was really I didn't know who to pick, honestly. But they had a lot of they had Steven Jackson, of course. But yeah, it's not fair because James Johnson, like you said, is a black belt. That's different.
I'm
That man
taking
knows combat.
6'9", 250. I'm taking James Johnson.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not even just the attitude, it's not just fighting all your life type of thing. He is a trained fighter, not a boxer, black belt karate fighter.
Street or whatnot. Like, yeah, this guy's he's been trained. He's been about.
Yeah, he knows leverage, he knows angles, he knows counters. I'm good. Yeah, yeah, I'm good. I'm not. Yeah, James Johnson got it. James Johnson easily has it.
Trey Young looks like he smells bad. Don't knock on Trey Young like that. Trey Young is a god. Trey Young is on the map.
No, I saw him. He was doing. They had Ball His Life. He was balling at in Oklahoma City recently at their little stadium or whatever. And I'm like, is coronavirus over? Like they were having like a little basketball tournament, and he was in it, and everybody was chilling, no mask on. I'm confused.
He plays for the Atlanta Hawks. They're not coming.
Yeah, Atlanta doesn't care.
Atlanta is essentially like coronavirus is done in Atlanta, figuratively.
Oh yeah, they've been. I'm not sure if people weren't here last stream, but we talked about it. Georgia is literally acting like coronavirus never happened. People are at clubs, restaurants are open, people are hanging out, chilling. It's literally like nothing happened. I don't know exactly how every other city's doing it, but people are literally out here, even without masks, just chilling. Like life is normal.
You definitely can't give athletes cards. You are right. You are right, Daddy Smokes Yams.
Gilbert Arenas
Also, Javaris Crediton, also from Atlanta, who locked guns with Gilbert Arenas. But I'm for the responsible. I'm a Hawks fan. I'm an all NBA fan. My home teams are Boston Celtics and Atlanta Hawks, so I have shade a little towards bias towards the Hawks and the Celtics, but I mean, Trey Young don't smell bad. Like, just because he's balling.
Nah, he do. I think it's because of his hair. I think it's because of his hair. He look unkept. That's what we're going to say. That's the best way to put it. That's the nicest way. He looks unkept.
Yeah, he just got to come home. That's it. He just got to come home. He came home yet.
Yeah, he definitely looks unkept. Po baby. But now he was balling though. He was hitting them with some moves. If you haven't seen it, he had like this 1-and-1 near the end of the clip where he was completely fouled, like held on to, and just kind of threw something up. He made it. Of course, he was hitting his long ranges. I mean, it was like nobody could do anything.
Like grabbed him.
You say what?
An NBA player?
No. He was the only NBA player, I think. Yeah, I think he was the only NBA player there.
I would not do that if I'm playing against him.
I mean, it wasn't like really aggressive, but it was literally like try to make him not score, and he still threw up something. It was like medium range too. It was like a jump shot range, and he like hit him, and he just kind of like that a little bit, and it was and-1 cash.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what if you accidentally injure him?
Oh yeah.
Number one. So I'm like, hey, I'm not touch you at all, just in case.
Yeah, but they were trying really hard. You could tell, like they was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna eat off. If I can lock down Trey Young, I might get a 10-day contract. But he was embarrassing them out there, so it was dark for them.
NBA player could cook anyone on the basketball court.
It's a different level. It's a different level. NBA players are freaks. Like even the guys we think are terrible in the NBA, when they play against other people, they dominate. They just don't dominate at the NBA level because the talent is just that great.
Exactly. I remember a God's gift to Chua from St. John's, who was one of the bench players for St. John's. He came to the recreation court in our school and started knocking down threes, like 7 in a row, like mid-game, like during a pickup game. And this is a guy who doesn't shoot outside from under the basket in St. John's when he was playing in St. John's. He doesn't step from outside 5 feet out the basket. But in the pickup game, he was knocking down threes. And this is a college bench player. Think of an NBA bench player. Think of
Exactly, bro. It's just different levels, bro. It's different levels to this, man. The person you think is sorry in the NBA is like a god in real life if you to play against him.
Yeah, Trey Young, well, there's another comment saying Trey got them baby dolphin teeth. Well, that's
The
true.
baby Dolphins. Yeah.
I mean, well, he do got an overbite as well, but just because of that, like, man,
Hey
don't
man,
let
he can hoop. Hey,
yeah,
but Buddy can hoop, man.
he a hooper.
Yeah, Buddy can definitely hoop. He looks a little uncut, but he can hoop.
Kobe White, upcoming star, watch out. I like Kobe White. He's played much better during the second half of the season, and he's like one of the. It was like he's like one of the biggest disappointments that coronavirus happened because he was coming on strong for the Chicago Bulls, but coronavirus happened and he didn't get to finish the season. But yeah, I say Kobe White has a lot of potential to eventually replace Zach LaVine as their top offensive player once they eventually will trade Zach LaVine because Zach LaVine's on a huge contract. So I could see Kobe White taking that place like in a few years.
Okay, yeah, I definitely see that. And then also I don't have it in the list of things we were gonna talk about. Oh, wrong button. But I definitely want to talk about this whole Mikey Williams situation because this is like a bigger message than just beyond him. But to set up the premise and everything, Mikey Williams is basically the best 15-year-old basketball player in the world, technically. Like when he's finally able to graduate high school, he's gonna be like the number one recruit. He's gonna be like Ben Simmons level type of guy. And he recently tweeted that going to an HBCU wouldn't be too bad, which of course sparked. I mean, it sent Twitter out of control because if you really think about it, you can make HBCU. I mean, it's basketball. It's not even football where you have to get a lot of people. If he chooses to go to an HBCU and commit to one and actually go to one, then he can bring other great talent with them, like the other top guys coming out of high school. And then whatever HBCU they go to could actually be a dominant force in the bracket and actually be one of the top teams. So you could actually take your talent somewhere and make that team better. So I'm definitely in favor for that. That would be great because we've always, people have preached for a long time that we should try to take talent towards the HBCUs and make them competitive in sports. And basketball is probably the quickest sport you can do that with because you really only need like 2 or 3 guys to really separate yourselves amongst the competition. Really? And so, I mean, we already saw it with Ben Simmons. That's not even HBCU, but he went to LSU and he didn't care. He was like, I'm going to do me. We're not going to make it far. I don't really care, but I just want to go to the school that I want to go to. So Mikey Williams,
a perfect example.
You said who?
Anthony Edwards.
Oh, yeah. Went to Georgia. Yes, sir. I mean, he was over there. I mean, so we got some 4-star guys because of him, but it wasn't enough to make us like a true heavyweight in the potential March Madness. But he brought some talent with him.
At that point, they're going to be just like Ben Simmons.
Yeah. But he brought some talent with him. The talent wasn't great, but those people only came to Georgia because Anthony Edwards came to Georgia. So Mikey Williams could definitely spark that. And what's even better is that he's still 15. So he's saying this ahead of time so that other people can, like other top talent can be like, okay, so now we can plan accordingly. And it's not like a last second thing. Say if he was 17 and then decided this, then it'll be hard because somebody else may have already committed to one place, may have committed to another place like Duke or Kentucky or whatever. But now that he's saying that it's at 15, the other 15 or even 16-year-olds that are going to be great talents, recruiting wise, can, plan around this, and they may be able to meet up at an HBCU. And that would be great because HBCUs are already really fun. The only thing missing from HBCUs are sports. So for an HBCU to have a top 25 team, especially with the best player possibly in college basketball, that would be so fun, especially if it was like somewhere like Morehouse where I could go to the games and stuff like that. That would be amazing.
Morehouse games are free.
Exactly. And so that would just spark more people going to HBCUs and bringing more power and money to HBCUs for the athletics. So I love that. I mean, he never said he was going to go to one, but, he just threw that tweet out there to basically say, I'm thinking about it and stuff like that. So
got people asking those questions, got people thinking about it. That's great.
Yeah.
There or not.
Yeah, I really appreciate him. I really do.
Now, if I were him, I'll go to the G League. I'll just say, like, hey, like, screw college altogether. I'm going to the G League. But, hey, it'll be great on him if he does go to an HBCU. One of the main criticisms I've always heard, because I remember we did a podcast, I say about a couple years ago. We did talk about this. I don't know if you remember, Rico, But we did talk about what if NFL players not NFL players, high school football players go to HBCUs instead and build that up. Top 5-star recruits go to HBCUs instead and build that up. And one of the criticisms I heard when I made that argument to someone else as well is that, well, you don't have the facilities like a Duke, like a North Carolina, like an Alabama in football. Well, if they go there, they're bringing money to that university. They are bringing money so they can build those facilities for the future. And like Mikey Williams said, he's a basketball player. He's only going to be there for 1 year. He's only in there to play basketball games. He doesn't need to work out in the facilities. The facilities aren't that good. He's just there to build the name, and he's still going to be a top pick regardless. And it doesn't matter about TV revenue. If he comes to an HBCU, let's say if he comes to Fort Valley State, Tuskegee, or Morehouse, if he does come to any of those HBCUs, they're going to get the TV revenue. They're going to be on ESPN. They're going to bring just his presence alone.
The money's going to follow him.
Yeah. Other top high school recruits, if they go there as well, they're going to follow. So they'll bring to those HBCUs, and those HBCUs will be better off for it.
So spark a movement.
It'll be a smart move. It'll spark a movement. If he's only going to be in college basketball for 1 year just so he can go to the NBA, like, hey, might as well start a movement. Might as well just make a mark. Might as well build up HBCU. So instead of going to, like, let's say a university that, let's be honest now, that outside the basketball team, how many other Black people do you see on campus? If you go to an Auburn, if you go to a Duke, if you go to North Carolina. I remember growing up, like, just as a Black kid, my favorite college team was Auburn, just because they had Jason Campbell, Cadillac Williams, and Ronnie Brown. So I grew up with the intention that when I get old enough for college, I'm going to Auburn. And Auburn sent me letters when I was a high school freshman. So I was extremely happy when I got that. So I didn't even let my interest know that I wanted to go to Auburn, but they sent me letters. So I was so ready to go to Auburn until my high school senior year when Cam Newton won the national championship. They got super popular, but that's a solid story. When I checked the demographic of Auburn, I saw it was about 92% white, 6% Black, and like the rest is Asian. Or it was the other way around, where it was like there was more Asians than Blacks, but it was like 4 to 6% Black. And I got so turned off by that. Because I'm like, what? I'm like, the whole football team is Black. Why aren't there many Black people outside of football team? So watching college sports, I always had the mindset that there's a lot of Black people just because who was on their sports teams. But it's like most of the Black people, I won't say most, but like a good portion of Black people are there because they play athletics. So if you go to an HBCU that is historically Black. Historically Black doesn't mean that it's all Black people that go to the school. It's just historically Black. It used to be just all Black college. People of different races could go to HBCUs now as well. But if they do go to a historic Black college where most of the demographic is Black, I think that's going to definitely spark a movement, and I think that would make the NCAA adjust, and that'll make the world notice as well.
Yes, exactly. And like you said earlier, I mean, not having good facilities in the beginning is not going to matter. Just because Mikey Williams doesn't have top-notch facilities is not going to make him worse than a guy that has less talent than him but better facilities. He's still going to be better than that guy. It doesn't matter that much at all. It would be nice to have them, but he doesn't need them.
I mean, he can have his own personal like facilities. He can have like his own personal trainer as long as he's not getting paid. And by the time he comes to the NCAA, there will be compensating players, at least outside of, well, like they'll be able to take on sponsorship. So let's say he gets sponsored to work out, or by Nike or something, sponsor him to use like a certain gym. And maybe he could get that instead if the facilities aren't as good.
Exactly. So there's always ways to work around it. And at the end of the day, he doesn't really need them. His talent is going to outshine a player with less talent with a better facility anyway.
If we get like a player like Mikey Williams and come to Morehouse, well, I doubt it's going to be free anymore.
Oh yeah. Morehouse games will no longer be free. No, that's done. Nah, that's done because it's gonna be too packed.
That's spending money for those colleges, and those colleges could, if more black athletes just go to colleges like that, not just basketball but football as well, that's just going to add more money to the school. So we won't have to worry about that criticism. Like, hey, they don't have good facilities, they don't have great coaches, because once the players start coming in, then that's when they start bringing on the money. Why do you think schools like Duke, like North Carolina, like Alabama, like UGA, they have so much money? It's because of their athletics. Their football and basketball teams bring so much money to the school that they're able to pay this much amount of money to coaches, and they're able to have these big arenas, these big stadiums, these great facilities. It's because the players. So this is just Ash will never argument why players should be paid, but this is why players can also go to HBCUs as well.
And spark change, exactly. And like we said earlier, basketball is the easiest sport to do it in. Well, easiest team sport to do it in. And yeah, I seen what Smoke Jam said. That boy a fool. I seen that.
I mean, it's not a given that you're gonna go for Beal. I'm just saying.
Oh, also, beyond Mikey Williams, did you hear about that Nick Barnes guy that ran a 4.14 40-yard dash recently?
What? Say it again. A 4.14.
A 4.14 40-yard dash.
It was it electronically timed or was it hand timed?
Well, I'm still trying to see, but there's like a video of it.
Amazing, but I mean, hey,
yeah, we got it. Yeah, I need to see how valid that is.
That's not human. That's insane. That's faster than the same ball, I believe.
Man, that man's gonna be recruited left and right for everything. Yeah, bro. I gotta look into it. I haven't had the chance to watch the video, but I've heard about it. My boy Derek JB was telling me about it, and I haven't gotten a chance to really like. I know there's a video out there that's going viral of him actually running it. I wish I could show it on here. That would be dope. But yeah, it's just like Jones is saying, bro. I don't even know how that's physically possible. Honestly, I mean that is just ridiculous.
It's the electronic time. It could be a 4.2, which is still mind blowing, but 4.14.
Bruh.
He must be the Flash. He must be the Flash.
Faster than Tyreek Hill is ridiculous. I
don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, I don't. If I would have watched the video, I have more to say and be able to expound upon it a little bit more. But I mean, not seeing the video, I just don't know how much to believe in it yet because that's absolutely ridiculous.
If it's hand time, if they use the hand timer, then I'm probably just going to take it at like he was probably like a tenth of a second, like we were like tenths of seconds off. If it could have been 4.3, like or if even 4.4, I don't know. So he probably pressed it too early. Like who knows? Like we got to get ridiculous time on that. For me, I mean, I'm mind blown by that, but for me to be truly mind blown, got to get the electronic time.
Yeah. For it to be, completely valid, we know for a fact that's what he actually ran and all of that. I do agree. But that would, if that becomes like, if they can confirm that, because I think they can do it through video, even though somebody wasn't there. Like with how technology works, you can actually time it while watching the video probably, and they'll come out with the official time maybe later on. If he's anything below 4.2, instant 5-star recruit. I don't care if he can't throw. I don't care if he can't run routes. 5-star recruit.
College out, he'll still be a first-round pick.
Exactly.
Like that. We'll find a position room. We'll find a position.
Yeah, we'll make something. Returner, gadget guy, something. You're gonna be something. God level slot receiver if he can learn route running. We're gonna figure something out for you. And I can't wait to see how much this develops further because I need to know if this is real or not. I have to know. Because that's unheard of if you really think about it. The fact that that's faster than you say
be on Madden. Like 99 won't even do him justice.
Oh yeah, they would have to give him 105 on Madden. 105 speed.
You're gonna have to break the game.
They will have to literally give him an X factor that only he has that just glitches him faster. Like something is just ridiculous. But yeah, I definitely gotta check out that video as soon as this stream ends. I'm watching it because I
Oh,
gotta
me
see it.
too. Me
I
too.
just need
Yeah.
to see if it's blurry or not. I need to see if he's just a walking blur.
Yeah.
I got.
I got to watch that as well.
But yeah, man, that whole Mikey Williams situation is crazy because that whole HBCU thing could be amazing. I mean, that could spark so much change, and we could turn HBCUs into top-notch sports franchise, sports programs, and that could be great. I mean, that'll bring them more money because I'm not sure if you know, but Morehouse has his fair share of problems already. Like
Oh,
some
I
of their
know.
housing buildings don't have air conditioning because they literally just can't afford to pay it right
I,
now.
honestly, I believe it. Like, look at the area they live in the West
Yeah,
Side.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They are true. They on the west side of Atlanta, right in it.
Is underfunded. That whole like area is underfunded.
Exactly,
It's
man.
right outside
So
the stadium.
it's an expensive school, but they still just don't have money for a lot of random stuff. Like I said, there's one building that doesn't have air conditioning right now. I'm not sure if they fixed it yet, but I know it was a few months they didn't have air conditioning or heat or something like that. There's just so many different issues that they're having. So, and just not even Morehouse, but everybody, Howard, all of those schools, to be able to just bring more money into their programs and stuff would just help, not just athletic wise, but just the school in general.
Yeah, if you're like, yeah, you're a young athlete who is one of the best in the nation. You're not like too well versed in black issues, black problems, because you probably haven't been focused on that. You've been focusing on your craft. If you really want to make your voice heard, if you really want to make a huge impact, go into an HBCU. That would do a world of impact.
Yes, please, man.
Because you're adding money, you're adding wealth to the university, you're adding wealth to the black community. And what you're giving back is you're just playing sports for them. You're just playing basketball, you're playing football. For that year, 2 or 3 years you're at the school for, that will do the HBCU like a world of good. Like think, like you could be the reason why some places, like some dorms, could now finally have air conditioning, or some
Mm-hmm.
like some buildings will get renovated. You could be the reason just because you play sports for that school. I
And
think
he'll
there could
go down in history even just beyond basketball. Like that's like a
there's
almost
some
like black activist level.
yeah.
Yeah, like he'll go down in the history books for that.
I would like to see that happen. I like that a lot of current professional players or retired players like Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul are encouraging these young athletes to also go to HBCUs, even though they haven't themselves. Because I'm pretty sure some of these athletes are look back and like, you know what? I kind of wish I went to an HBCU instead. Maybe in Chris
Mm-hmm.
Paul's case, since he wasn't he really made a name for himself in college. I don't think he was like too highly touted in high school, but in college
Mm-hmm.
he made a name for himself. Probably couldn't do that. But let's say like an Anthony Davis or like a
Oh
Carl,
yeah.
like if they went to HBCUs, they'll still be your top picks. They'll still be superstars, but they will also do the world a load of good. So let's say that 5-star recruit whose reputation won't be ruined if they go to an HBCU. Just go, be there for a year, make money for the school. Who knows? Their stock could probably fall just because they probably won't be seen as much, or they'll probably be criticized for going against a lower level of competition. But that's just a small price to pay for the world of good that
Yeah.
you do to the school. Because hey, if you were a baller in high school and you know you're going to be a baller in the NBA, you'll still be a baller regardless if you go to Morehouse, Howard, or Duke or North Carolina.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I feel like going against lower level of competition doesn't affect draft stock in the NBA as much as it does NFL. Because if you play in one of those back conferences in the NFL, you almost go undrafted even when you look great. I mean, but NBA, you know what I'm saying? You kind of play everybody in a way, especially once you get to the tournament. So I definitely feel like you always have a chance to make yourself look good in front of NBA scouts and in NBA teams, no matter what, even if you're playing at lower level competition.
Yeah, you always have a chance. But I don't want. I just want to make sure. I just want to correct. I just want to ask you, Rico. So some HBCUs can they be eligible to go to NCAA tournaments? I know they got their own tournament themselves.
Oh, that is an
Yeah,
interesting part.
they got their own tournament. So I don't know if they're even eligible for NCAA because they're a completely different division. Because the division that we watch on TV is Division One,
Yeah,
and HBCUs are a completely different division. But maybe if they're good enough, can they be elevated or at least
yeah.
MIT? So
I mean,
if you go to HBCU, probably just gotta live with the fact that hey, you can't have go to a tournament. But hey, a lot of the college freshmen this past year could have played a tournament. So
yeah. I mean, and at the end of the day, they with like I said earlier, with him saying this so young at 15, they can get the proper preparations set. You know, maybe if he can find an HBCU that's his goal to go towards, then maybe that HBCU themselves can work to try to get themselves into Division 1 to prepare for him to get there, so they're already Division 1 when he comes or something like that. But he would just have to give like a real hard commit to that school to get to even start that process. So I mean that could work. You know what I'm saying? I definitely hope he does it. Even if he has to become a sacrifice, like you said, maybe his draft stock might lower. And if the HBCU he goes to isn't able to compete in the tournament, he won't be able to participate in March Madness and stuff like that. But I mean, it'll have such a large impact on the future of just black sports and black colleges. That I definitely feel like it'll be worth it, and he will be strongly appreciated. I mean, anything he needs, everybody will have his back. He will never have to go anywhere and worry about, certain things. I mean, black people are going to have his back everywhere for him sacrificing his college career like that.
yeah, got a comment. North Carolina A&T's Division One. Torrey Cohen went there of the Chicago Bears. That's true, but for basketball with the NCAA tournament, um, like there could have been an HBCU that went to the tournament, but like I don't remember any HBCU that went to the NCAA tournament. So who knows? I mean,
Yeah,
that's with football, but who knows with basketball? It
exactly.
could
Yeah,
be
yeah,
eligible. This thing is HBCUs are like never really at that level to compete with Division One teams.
yeah. Once they finally get the talent, they'll be acknowledged enough to possibly be able to compete against Division 1 guys.
Yeah, exactly.
This is going to take one to spearhead the movement, and then hopefully guys follow behind him. Hopefully he doesn't do it, and then nobody does it again for like 10 years. Hopefully it's just a consistent flow of great talent to at least that HBCU as a start type of thing.
And if players like that would go to HBCU, that would give them a bigger student body because now you just have more people who are not athletes that would like say like, hey, I want to go to this HBCU as well. Like you got all these athletes over there.
Yeah,
I want to
I might have gone. I
I
might have
want
gone.
to
Hey, man.
the reason I went to St. John's is because of their historic basketball team. That's why I went to St. John's and New York. But number one was their historic basketball team.
Yeah.
If Morehouse had that, I probably would have tried to go to Morehouse instead.
Exactly. Yeah. Bro, that's like the main gripe I have with HBCUs is that their athletics just aren't elite. And that's
And
big for me.
the great thing about HBCUs, if you ever go into any HBCU game, are their bands. Their bands are amazing. The battle of the bands. If you get top players to go to those schools, oh, that would give a college sports game a different experience. It's like you have more people coming to those HBCU games. You'll see the battle of the bands with good sports play. That's just gonna bring, if that's on TV, that's just gonna bring a different experience to the college atmosphere, to college sports games in general if you watch from TV. Because those
Exactly.
now the bands are interesting. I remember when I went to my first HBCU football game. That was an experience.
Yeah, Battle of the Bands is different. I mean, that's more of a Southern thing anyway. That's like more of a Southern black thing. So that's a pretty unique experience in itself. Yeah, Battle of the Bands is really fun because it's almost like their own competition within the game. You have the actual sport you're watching, and then you have the bands going competing against each other too. So that's really interesting.
At times, like that time I went there, the bands were more interested in the actual football game. The football game was the bands were actually more interested.
Especially the drum majors.
Yeah, it was the game I went to. I think was Morehouse Tuskegee game. I think it was a classic Morehouse Tuskegee classic.
And, yeah, where you have to go. Did you go to the one in Alabama or the one that was closer to here?
The
Like,
one
was it at
that was,
Morehouse?
no, it was like South Georgia.
Yeah. It's like
Like
it's. I went to
bordering
that
Alabama.
recently.
Yeah,
I
it was
went
like
to the most recent one they did. Yeah, it's like the Georgia Alabama. Huh? Yeah, the football one. Yeah.
you were there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Oh,
it was the
I was
Morehouse
there.
Tuskegee. Yeah,
I was
it was
so.
me, my cousins Lyriq Z, our granddad, and
That's good.
uncle, and yeah, it was my granddad's brothers and stuff. Yeah, we all went as like a group.
Wait, so we were in the same place at the same time. We did not
And
know
then
each
he know then he know it.
other.
Yeah, because I remember it was really hot that day. That was terrible, but it was fun, but it was just really hot. And they had the
Yo,
parade
oh,
before it and stuff.
it was like 97. It was scorching.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. But that's crazy that you were there. That's wild. Like that was super out of nowhere for us. Like we weren't really expecting to do that, and we just randomly went to go do it. It was really fun.
I was doing it as part of like my internship. I was filming games. Well, I was like helping. Well, there was one guy who I was learning from, who was like sort of like my mentor. He was filming the games, and I was watching him. So I was like right on the sidelines. But I really didn't know you were at the game.
Yeah, that's wild. Morehouse was losing. We left by like third
Okay,
quarter
yeah.
sometime.
It was a mess. It was a
Yeah,
mess.
Morehouse was getting diddy bop. We had to leave.
Yeah, but also during that game too, it wasn't just Morehouse would lose on the field; they're also losing the bands too, because Tuskegee, Morehouse, they were trash talking with their chants and with
Yeah.
each band, and Tuskegee was winning even with the trash talk as well. Morehouse had nothing to say. I was like, man, Morehouse, you are not looking good. You are not looking good.
That heat was terrible. That heat was just horrendous. But the parade before everything was really
I wear
fun.
something like this too, so I was
Yeah, I
dying.
was covered up in I had my jacket over me to protect me from the sun. It was terrible.
Yo, we really at the same place at the same time.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
wild, especially somewhere so far. That's wild. That's literally where my granddad is from. That's where my granddad was like born and raised. So that's another reason we went there. He like took us to where he used to live at and stuff like that.
Oh, that's great. So what I'm seeing in the comments, yeah, Steve McNair, he did go to HBCU. Doug Williams as well. The story with Steve McNair was that he wanted to go. Well, he was actually highly touted as an athlete for college, but Division I schools they didn't want him to play quarterback because during that time, even though he was after Doug Williams, black quarterbacks were still very taboo. So even though he was a good quarterback in high school, they wanted him to play defensive back, quarterback, safety. They want him to play quarterback. So he had to go to an HBCU because that was the only school that would take him at quarterback. And look at him now. Well, rest in peace, Steve McNair, but look at him like for his NFL career. He was a Hall of Fame quarterback. He was a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback in his NFL career. But that was the one problem with the NFL in the 90s and even earlier than that, because Doug Williams is a pioneer for black quarterbacks, is that every time you were a black quarterback, they want you to play a different position because they look at you and your athletic abilities are like, and the stereotypes that we're not smart enough to pick up a playbook and that like, look, you got to play a different position. You can't play quarterback. You're too fast, you're too athletic. But once you got it was a white player with the same skill set, they want that quarterback.
Yeah.
That's a lot better right now. Of course, we have loads of black quarterbacks right now in today's NFL, but you'll still have your detractors like Lamar Jackson, most recent example. Even though Lamar Jackson was a Heisman winning quarterback at Louisville, he looked like the second coming of Vic, and he has a rocket arm. There were still detractors that said like, oh, he should be a receiver. He should be a running back. So much so that he didn't do a 40 time just so he could prove to everybody he's a quarterback. And now he's defending MVP.
Exactly. I love Lamar presence. I love Lamar Jackson's presence in the game. Like you said, the fact that he skipped that 40 time, I love that. I remember applauding him when I heard about that. And I love the fact that he's actually matured passing wise. That first year was a little ugly, but then he came back. They set up an offense around him. They gave him, his tight ends that he could depend on, and he's actually shown what he can do with his arm. You know, in the playoffs, for some reason, everything breaks down. But
so much further than Sam Darnold. I mean, at least, yeah, he's so much further off than Sam Darnold. You see the progression from his first year. He was, I would say he was a horrible passer, but he was very inaccurate.
yeah, very
He had
inconsistent.
a lot of pressure. He did struggle passing the ball, but he took those criticism he had that year during his playoff game, his rookie year, and he built on it. He improved tremendously, as opposed to Sam Darnold, who had a marginal improvement from his first and second year, and we still not really sure of him. And he was a top 5 pick. You had
Exactly.
Jackson was in the late first round, some not still say, but some said when he got drafted that in the late first round by the Ravens that it was a reach. And now look at
Yeah. Especially since they traded up into the first round to get him with that last pick. A lot of people really felt like it was a reach for some reason.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean that is still that stereotype still happens today. And
Exactly.
like if you are a black quarterback, you don't need to be a receiver. I mean, there's some cases where you'll probably have to. If you don't have the arm strength, but Lamar Jackson's case, he had more than enough arm strength. He was good enough to be a quarterback. Of course, his passing, his accuracy wasn't polished yet, but that could be improved on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I do agree. Yeah, I'm very happy about Lamar Jackson's presence, especially since he went from night and day mechanics wise and accuracy and everything like that. So it showed that you can truly you can, beat the detractors. And then also I hate how like whenever there's like a mobile quarterback like that's not black, they like praise his mobile. Like they've been stretching the whole Mitch Trubisky being mobile for so long, keep believing in him. He's fast. You know what I'm saying? It's just this amazing thing that he's just fast, and it's so annoying.
Mr. Trubisky's a perfect example. Mr. Trubisky honestly was a black quarterback. Is it too late for you to go to wide receiver at this point? Because he is fast, and he used to be a wide receiver before.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is he can't throw. He can run, but he can't throw.
Exactly. I mean, it would be nice to use him on a trick play like a flea flicker to throw it maybe, but not as a consistent NFL quarterback. It is not it.
Look at Baker Mayfield, for example. Baker Mayfield was more of a scrambling quarterback at Oklahoma. If Baker Mayfield was, I'll say Lamar Jackson was white, would he been picked over Baker Mayfield? Like, just to be for real.
Yeah, that's a point.
Undersized, scrambling quarterback. He could throw. I mean, yeah, he could throw. He was great under pressure, at least in college he was. But his like main strength was his mobility in the pocket. But in the NFL right now, at least his second year, he's severely regressed. While the last quarterback drafted in that first round, or at least Lamar Jackson, he incredibly improved. Like, let's say if he was a white quarterback with the same skill set, still won the Heisman, still had all those rushing yards, all those touchdowns he had, passing touchdowns in Louisville. I believe he would have been a top 10 pick, definitely.
Man, hey, man, it's just the reality of things, honestly. I'm not even going to lie. But yeah, man, that whole Baker Mayfield situation is crazy too, because he looked really good with Ken Zampese as his quarterback coach, and as soon as Ken Zampese left, who is currently the Redskins quarterback coach, which I'm excited about, Baker Mayfield just looked day and night. I mean, it was the exact opposite. I don't know, that second year was terrible. I mean, granted, the offensive line wasn't at like dependable and great, but even when they were blocking, even though when the receivers were open, Baker Mayfield, I don't know, it was weird. I mean, even his mechanics looked a little sluggish.
And now I just felt Baker Mayfield didn't put in the work during the offseason. Baker Mayfield he had more. I think Stephen A. Smith made that example. He has more commercials than touchdowns. He was also talking a whole bunch of trash during that last offseason. About Hugh Jackson, about other players. He just wouldn't shut up. And I think he bought into his own hype, and that was the problem. That, and of course, you had, like you said, different quarterback coaches. Freddie Kitchens became the head coach. The offense, the coaching was completely different. It wasn't consistent. His offensive line didn't give him any help, and he had different receivers. He bought him to his own hype, and he didn't work. I felt like he didn't work enough with the new regime, and he just got complacent. All you have Lamar Jackson, as you see what Owe Matt said in his comment, Lamar's progression is a testament to his work ethic and his coach's abilities to coach. Two things that Baker Mayfield didn't have and didn't do.
Terrible, bro. I'm so sad. I am so sad.
Yeah, Baker has more miracles than wins. That was a line. At one point, he had more miracles than touchdowns as well.
But what's it called? LaMelo Ball has met with the Golden State Warriors, so that's really interesting because they will have a great draft pick because they played so poorly this year with all of the injuries. KD leaving, Clay never touched the floor, Steph Curry being out the majority of the year. So they possibly could end up with an Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball, and that's really interesting because how would that work with chemistry? Just another scorer, like how? I'm not exactly sure how that would work. They still already have D'Angelo Russell, I believe, too, right?
Oh no, D'Angelo Russell got traded to Minnesota for Andrew Wiggins.
Oh, that is how they ended up with Andrew Wiggins. Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you.
Yeah, but for that reason, that's why I'm not going to draft LaMelo. That's a spokesman.
Yeah,
I could see the Warriors drafted Anthony Edwards, but I can't see them drafting LaMelo.
Yeah, that's too many mouths to feed. Yeah, too many mouths to feed. And he's a shooting point guard. He loves to shoot. That's just too many mouths to feed. And
LaMelo was a shooting point guard. In Australia, it became more of a passing point guard. He's actually more like his brother now. And honestly, I feel like he's better than his brother, or at least he will be better than his brother.
Yeah, I feel like Lonzo is very slept on. Like, I feel like he's still underrated. He has room to grow, and he's played better than what people give him credit for. But I agree, LaMelo is going to be the better of the three brothers.
If you really want to be honest with you with Lonzo, I think it's just going to be a slightly better version of Ricky Rubio. I don't think he's going to be a star.
I can see
starting point guard to me. That's still a starting point guard. But
yeah, that's still good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think LaMelo could still be a star. But with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, it's not about the offensive chemistry for me. It's about the defense. Because if you have skinny LaMelo Ball with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, that's not going to be good for defense. I can see Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is 6'5", 220. So he can play each wing position. Even though Andrew Wiggins has played better with the Golden State Warriors, I still don't really buy him as a guy you would want starting for a championship team. I'll take Anthony Edwards and remove Wiggins to the bench, or have Anthony Edwards off the bench to give a scoring punch.
Yeah, along with defense, a nice two-way player. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, I just don't understand how LaMelo will work chemistry-wise with that team. And like you said, I mean, like I was saying, offensively, that's bad too. But like you said, defensively, who's going to be the guy Klay Thompson is a great defender. Draymond Green is a great defender. But, I mean, who are you going to hide? You can't hide. You already hide Steph Curry away from the ball handler. You can't hide LaMelo also. Even though he has length, like you said, he's very skinny.
Yeah, exactly. And just having the ball in his hands is taken away from Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And even though LaMelo is a better shooter now, he's not Splash Brothers level shooting. So if he has the ball, I think that's going to hurt Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. If he has the ball, I'm not watching for his shooting. I'm just going to put more attention to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. When Steph Curry has the ball, it's trouble. Because even though he's not a pass-first point guard per se, his best ability to me is not even just his shooting. It's just him being such a deadly threat from the outside that he's just such a huge decoy that it allows other players who are not even guarding Steph Curry, just focus on Steph Curry and let their man fall asleep and let their man just sneak in under the basket or just make a cut and have an open three. Steph Curry's best skill is just being such a nuisance to opposing,
especially around a bunch of screens.
Yeah, he's just such a threat, which is why I feel like he's still like a top 5 player in the NBA, bar none. You can even argue
Yeah.
top three if I make my list. Like five, like part of my list, it could even be top three. But just that one skill set. If you take the ball out his hands and put it in LaMelo, you're gonna hurt that ability.
Yeah. You're definitely
So,
gonna diminish Steph Curry's impact on the game.
yeah. So there's also a couple players that Warriors could draft if they fall outside that like top three
Top
range.
lottery. Yeah,
Yeah,
top three.
yeah, top lottery. Obi Toppin is a good player. I've seen. Yeah, I believe he's about 21, 22 years old, but he was like the best college player in basketball. And he's a forward, very athletic, can score. I could see the Warriors getting an upgrade from Draymond Green, who is at this point is not as good as he used to be. Or they can move
Yeah.
Draymond Green to the five. So I can see Obi Toppin. Also, a player I know so well because he went to my high school, and I'm very good friends with his older brother. Is Isaac Okoro. He went to Auburn. He's a defensive player similar to Andre Iguodala. He's about 20 years old right now, 19 or 20 years old. He is 6'6", 230. Muscle.
Okay. Yeah, straight muscle. Yeah.
So this is a kid that I've seen him since he was in middle school. Like he has work ethic. He has a lot of work ethic. He was a defensive player in Auburn. He wasn't really much of a shooter. He was getting much better in his offensive game towards the latter half of the Auburn season before the season got canceled. But this guy could already come in to me as a like Andre Iguodala type player for the Warriors. And I'd say like his best potential could be a Jimmy Butler sort of player.
And that sounds great for the Warriors to have. That adding another Iguodala back, a younger Iguodala back to the Warriors, that definitely sounds like a great compliment to what Steph and Clay need.
Yeah, and just like the Warriors, he's a winner. When he played for McEachern, his last season McEachern, they were undefeated, won the state championship. You go to Auburn, one of the best teams in college basketball for his lone freshman year as a top prospect. So he's a proven winner. He had a streak where he hadn't lost a game since his junior year in high school before Auburn lost the first game, like towards the end of the season, like play. He had a streak where he hadn't lost since junior year. That's amazing. That's a player I want to draft too.
Yeah, that's definitely something.
I see a comment below, like also another top high school prospect. Also like Mikey Williams, Imani Bates as well. He's compared to Kevin Durant. If he could go to an HBCU as well, I that is going to send shockwaves. He's also like Imani Bates is also like one of the most highly talented recruits, basketball recruits since LeBron James. I believe he's a sophomore right now. He's going to his junior year. But even his freshman year, he was already ranked as one of the top prospects in the nation as a freshman. And he's already, I believe, like 6'9", 6'10". The sky's the limit on his potential. If he could go to HBCU as well, he could send shockwaves.
Exactly. Yes, please. Go do it. Go do it. Please. Please, Imani Bates and Mikey Williams. Please. Everybody. But yeah, we're reaching 10 p.m. and everything. So, you know what I'm saying? About to wrap it up a little bit. Just want to head to the comments to see. I mean, I've been reading the comments the whole time though.
Yeah.
I've been keeping up. So it's not really much going on. So we may be ending the stream a little bit sooner than last time. Even we have more viewers this time, but
okay, turn up. I can't see
Oh yeah, I forgot you can. Oh yeah, we had more consistent viewers this time. I forgot about that. But right now we don't have like a lot of comments. So Oklahoma freshman quarterback Spencer Rattle is the next QB to watch. He's a beast. I've been hearing about him. I haven't gone to watch him yet, but I've heard about him.
Yeah, me too.
I've heard about him. I'm so glad Georgia
quarterbacks recently. It's just they've been having a streak.
Yeah,
of high-caliber quarterbacks.
Hey man, that recruiting boy, come to Oklahoma. We make Heisman's.
They've been using that to their full advantage.
If you want to win the Heisman, come to Oklahoma. We got you.
Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, that transfer portal as well.
Yep. Hey man, why not? Let me see. Like I said, my boy Caleb Wilson's from Gonzaga High School in DC. Okay, that's what's up. Secondly, referring to what teams just like, who would you have liked to the organization to pick up? Secondly, referring to that team's. Oh, if the Redskins traded and got first round pick with Trent Williams at the deadline last year, what would you have liked to see him go? I don't really have a particular team. I'm cool with him going to Cal Shanahan. I kind of like that. It's kind of a feel good story. He gets to go and play for his former coach. So that's pretty cool. But if we had a first round pick, say like they had like the 13th when they took Javon Kinlaw, I believe, and they had like a something in the 20s. Either way, I would have probably have gone one of those big time corners, maybe, or maybe one of those offensive linemen, probably a tackle. I love Sadiq Charles, but to get one of those first guys, like if we had our chance at Mekhi Becton or somebody like that, I would have probably have done that, or one of those elite corners. Or I mean, really, I don't remember if the 49ers picked before the Cowboys, but hey, man, we could have gotten CeeDee Lamb. That would have been dope. So that would have been nice to add to what the group that we brought in with this last draft haul, because I loved our draft. And man, just to basically just to go on a tangent, I love how my Georgia's recruiting right now. You know what I'm saying? We got JT Daniels, you feel me? So we got Jamie Newman this year, JT Daniels the next year, and then Brock, the currently in high school, we have him the year after that. So Georgia's loaded at quarterback, no more Jake Fromms. We should be straight. Oh, Emax said I was thinking receiver. Yeah, man. If we could have gotten CeeDee Lamb with that, if we would have traded Trent Williams for like the 49ers, that pick they had, the 13th they got from the Colts or something like that, that would have been dope. What about Damon Arnett? I heard he was good, just shadowed by Okudah. Yeah, I do like him. I don't think he's Jeffrey Okudah potential wise, but yeah, Damon Arnett at Ohio State, he is a really good corner. Just like how when what's his name, who went to the Saints came out, all of the attention on it was on him, but the guy that went to the Raiders, Jerron, I can't remember his name. He was also really good. It's kind of a similarity. The one that went to the Raiders, though, he just kept getting hurt. I can't remember his name. But who's the one that went to the Saints recently? I see his face. I just can't think of his name. It starts with an M or it's something. But yeah, there was also
not Marcus Williams.
No, not Marcus. Man.
The corner,
the shutdown corner.
Look at my phone.
Yeah, please. Yeah, along with him, there was the guy, I think his name started with a G. He went to the Raiders. I think that it's a similar situation as long as Damon Arnett can stay healthy.
Marshawn Lattimore, yeah.
Marshawn Lattimore, thank you. With Marshawn Lattimore, it was the guy whose name starts with a G. I can't remember it. That's similar to it. Drew used to be my favorite QB along with A-Rod, but now it's just A-Rod. After the statements, I appreciate it. That's funny.
Hey, wait, so and A-Rod supported Black Lives Matter with this statement.
Yeah, he's been really. I appreciate it. Him and Carson Wentz have really been.
Matt Ryan donated money to Black Lives Matter.
Oh yeah, I think he donated with like 500,000 or something like that.
Yeah, it was 500,000.
Yes, sir. Wait, but random question: are you still rooting for Tom Brady for the Buccaneers? Like, are you like? I mean, of course you're more Patriots than Brady, but are you any Brady at all?
I don't hate Brady at all. I mean, he got us 7 championships. How can we possibly hate him? I feel like you gotta be a real ungrateful person if you actually hate Brady.
Burning the jersey.
He's in the twilight of his career. Let him have some fun. He's been under the strict coaching under Bill Belichick for how many years?
Strict.
You see how much more fun he's having? You see him on TV more doing golf with Peyton Manning. Like, you didn't do all this with the Patriots. I'm happy for him. Honestly, this reminds me of when Boston Celtics traded all their old legends to the Brooklyn Nets, and the Brooklyn Nets just became in salary cap like exile after that, where they couldn't, where they weren't even good enough to be a legit playoff team with old Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. But they were like set back for the years because they gave Celtics all their draft picks.
Yeah, man, they were decent
without the draft picks.
They weren't great in the present, and they were terrible in the future. That was terrible.
Gronkowski from us. He was already like $12 million against our cap, and he wasn't even playing. Like, hey, And I don't mind
Yeah,
it. Like, look, we're bad to the point where we could get a top quarterback in the draft. Hey,
start
if
over.
Jarrett Stidham turns out to be decent, I'm good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
look, we won our. Hey, as a fan, I'm just basking my glory. And look, I'm basking my glory. We won 7 championships. We won
Yeah.
7. Like, what
Yeah,
more do I
man.
gotta say? Like, you can talk trash to me right now, but I'm like, look, we dominated the whole NFL. It was like even as a fan, it got exhausting for me always seeing the Patriots win. I actually want to experience it from another fan's viewpoint. Another fan that didn't have that privilege of having a great NFL team. Now I'm seeing it from the other fan. I'm seeing it from a Redskins viewpoint. Just watching it from like a different perspective, where we're probably losing games now and probably get top picks. I'm probably being the antagonist, but I mean,
hey man, I'll take with the top 5 talent in this draft. Top 6 is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I wouldn't mind going to go get one of those guys.
Right.
And I looked it up. It was Gareon Conley who I'm talking about with
Yeah,
Marshawn Lattimore.
yeah, I knew
it's a similar. Yeah, it started with a G. I just couldn't think of it.
Yeah, he got hurt too much.
He kept getting hurt, but he was also really good, but was overshadowed by Marshawn Lattimore. It may be a similar thing with Damon Arnett with Jeffrey Okudah.
Yeah, 6 championships. Yeah, sorry, 6. I'm sorry. We win so many championships. I'm sorry. I start to lose count sometimes.
All right, that's where we end the stream right there. That's where we end the stream right there. But all right, man, I appreciate you coming, Seyi. I appreciate everybody that's in the comment section helping keep the live stream going. Again, we live stream every Friday night, 8 to 10 p.m. And we're talking everything, not just, normally on my Sundays at 2 p.m. streams, it's mostly football and it's mostly Redskins. But this, we're talking about anything. You can ask us anything. You can ask us relationship questions like we were asked the last stream. We dove deep into the Black Lives Matter movement, or like the first hour of the stream. We talk about everything, sports, anything. So make sure y'all definitely tune in every Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. like tonight, for just a more diverse conversation than what I normally give y'all on Sundays. And that's really it, man. Go ahead and say whatever you got to say, my boy Seyi.
I appreciate you for having me, Rico, and that's what I see on the comments. You know what you see on your web browser, HTTP. That means hail to the Patriots.
No, we're not allowing that. We're not. It's hail to the Redskins, and that's it. Y'all gonna have to say go Patriots. Y'all can say go Patriots, go. Y'all can say Patriots rule if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can do whatever y'all want, but it's no hail to the anything but Redskins. Nah, we out. All right, y'all. We'll take care. I'm not going to let him to keep saying this on this stream no more. Take care again. Come back Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. every week. We'll be here.
Are we good?